Morning, everybody. How are you doing today? I hope you're excited for what we've got lined up because we're talking about business and we're sharing different businessmen and women's keys to success. And it's coming from a show that we did a couple weeks ago where we highlighted and spotlighted Kenyan brands. And we thought, why not make it a regular on the show and share with you what they're doing, secrets to their journey and to their success, the challenges that they're facing, the whole shebang. And so that's what we're doing today. We've got 3 brands that are incredible and are doing amazing things in the industry. And interestingly, I happen to own a product from all 3 brands. No, I wasn't asked to do that or to own the pieces. I just genuinely love what they have to offer. And I'm pretty certain you will too once you hear their story, assuming you don't already own their pieces in your home or in your skincare routine. I don't want to reveal too much just yet, but for now, I want to introduce our first entrepreneur. He's none other than Dennis Maura, and you may have come across Denry bags. That's what's behind me. You may have come across their Instagram page as well. Dennis, welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for having us in your store. I'm not kidding. I have a couple of your pieces at home with me all the time, your laptop bag.
Yeah.
I genuinely love what you do. So tell us, how did you start this? And I know you've got a business partner as well, Rita, who's not here with us today. But I want to know how you started because, first of all, I own the bags. I've got a laptop bag. I've got a baby bag. I genuinely love your products. How did it start?
I think the interesting part is that this was not the initial idea.
Oh.
Actually, yeah, it wasn't.
What was the initial
The
idea?
initial idea was we would make bags. Actually, that's how we started. We make bags, then brand them with the name of the school, then sell it to the school.
Because you were in uni at the time. Okay.
But now we used to sell it to private schools, primary schools. So we would brand the bag with the name with the name of the school.
Yeah.
Then after we brand the bag, we sell it to the school. Then the school sells it to the student. Then we discovered we have a lot of free time because that was only we were only working on Jan, April, and August. So we had a lot of free time in between. Then we were like, so what do we do with this time? We even at some point we tried doing an event.
Okay.
Because most guys would ask us, how did you guys start? How did you do it?
Right.
So instead of explaining to them all the time, so we just held an event where we explained everything to them and we charged, I think, 1,000 shillings. The event no longer exists because Dendry picked up so well. Yeah. So after some time, that's when we decided, let's try something different. Bags for campus people, given that we're in campus.
Okay.
Bags for elder people. And we just started with the first batch. Sold it to our relatives. Then we sold it to all our relatives, so we didn't have any more relatives to sell to.
Okay.
Then now you have to move to the outside world. That's how we started marketing to people. Yeah, and then at some point we took a break from school.
To pursue this? What were your parents' reactions?
I think that was the hardest time. Okay, it was really hard for them.
Yeah.
For us, I think we really knew what we wanted.
Right.
And if you really know what you want, I think just go for it.
So how long was that break?
1 year.
1 year to pursue this?
Yeah.
Wow.
We were like 1 year. If it works, we'll continue with it. If it doesn't work, we just go back to school and study.
Wow. Okay, so then let me ask this. What did you need to start? And I'm talking physically and also financially. What did you need?
Actually, Deadly was started with 19,000 shillings.
19?
Only 19,000 shillings. We just bought a few samples.
Yeah.
Then the samples for the bags. Then we fueled the car. Then we went to schools, school after school after school. I remember the idea came in June 2015. Okay. So after our exams, the next day we started going from one school to another school to another school to another school to another. We went to, like, I think in 2 weeks we went to almost like 50 schools.
Wow, you were serious. So how did you then position yourselves? Because the truth is the leather industry, and specifically people making bags, it's building, and there's a number of brands out there now. So how did you carve out your niche and make it such that Denry has its own little space and it's very clear what that positioning is?
I remember that time, most guys used to make jeans bags, if you remember.
Okay.
jeans bags. We actually made them, and actually our first customers, we sold jeans bags to them. Then we were like, what's going to make us different? I love bags on my side. Rita loves bags.
Yeah.
And definitely, I'm sure Kenyans love bags.
Yeah.
So we thought, why let's make a product that is good quality
But affordable.
and fashionable,
Yeah.
good quality, and affordable to carry.
And what was the perception? Were people like, yes, this is affordable bags, we're gonna take everything? Or were they like, Kenyan bags, affordable?
Actually, it's interesting how the market reacted because we made sure that when we're making our bags, the first question we ask ourselves is, can Rihanna also carry this bag?
Stop. Stop. I can't. Can Rihanna carry this bag?
Yes.
Okay, I love that.
Can our international artists carry these bags? That's the first question we ask ourselves.
What? I love that Rihanna is number one on that list. Can Rihanna carry this bag? And she's a fashion icon, so if she can.
Exactly. So that's how we started, and over and above our Kenyan artists liking the bag, we also like our products to be international. That's the point. So we try benchmark with international fashion houses, so that even when we are selling in Kenya, you are at an advantage compared to maybe.
Yeah.
So the reception was so nice because even the first time guys were like, I think Denry is an Italian brand. I'm like, no, it's a Kenyan brand.
Look at that. Very clear positioning. So I think it was in 2016, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe 2017, you had Fena as your ambassador. Yeah. Was it 2017 or
2017.
2017. So how did you go about finding someone who you believed to be the right fit for your brand and who's aligned? How did that come about?
There's something I always tell guys all the time, people who are starting. The moment you just start, things just fall into place. You just need to start and be bold and be consistent. For Fena, it was, Fena and Denry, I think it was just love at first sight.
Yeah.
Love at first sight, where we just clicked and connected. And she really loved our bag. She really loved our merchandise.
Yeah.
And we didn't even have to go to her. She's the one who approached us, and we were like, yes.
Wow.
And we clicked. And when Fena, she's a really hardworking lady, and when she decides to do something, when she loves something, she will go to all extremes to make sure that this thing works.
Great.
So up to today, we are really good friends, very tight, and still working together.
Yeah.
And I just love the chemistry.
Synergy. And synergy. Okay, so tell me about the challenges that you faced, because I'm sure it's not been an easy ride. I'm sure the past 3 years has had its ups and downs. What are some of the challenges that you faced in the industry?
Actually, some of the biggest challenges that we're facing is availability of raw materials.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, do you source your materials locally?
We source both locally and internationally.
Okay.
I think it would have been great if we sourced everything locally, but unfortunately, I'll give you a good example. To get maybe such a zipper,
Yeah. Okay.
it's really difficult to get such a zipper, to get such a logo, this logo in Kenya.
Okay.
So some of these things we have to like import them, but everything we assemble it in Kenya.
Okay.
Maybe the other issue we usually have is, I wouldn't say capital as such,
Yeah.
because as you sell, you're making money, so you invest that money back.
Yeah.
And I think the main challenges is having enough, actually in terms of materials, having the right one so that you can be able to compete in the international market. Yeah.
Where do you draw your inspiration from when it comes to the designs that you have, that you carry? Where does that come from?
Most of our inspiration comes from our customers.
Oh, how so? Like they'll come in and ask for something?
Actually,
or?
our diaper bag
Yeah.
it was a request from a client. A client came and said, I want a diaper bag from you guys. He just gave us a rough idea. I would like this, and this.
Yeah.
So we just went to the workshop, collaborated with the with the chief tailor.
Yeah.
And we came up with something which is, the first one was a bit different, definitely. Then after some time, we went on amending a few things to what we have today.
So who comes up with the designs? Besides the, you know, I hear that customers are a big source of inspiration, but who's the one who's drawing and creating?
Definitely, that's Rita who does
Rita.
that, yeah.
So she's there. Oh, I wish, Rita, you're missed today. I'd have loved to pick your brain and understand, like, how do you come up with that? Because, for instance, you've got a bag. I see that one right there that is transformed in so many different ways. Maybe actually, I don't know if I can grab it real quick. There we go. And so as you see it like this, it's hollow, but you can put another bag inside. Oh, that's one that's like covered, right? So inside there's a bag, but you can literally unstrap it, almost like unrobe it, and you have a bag, and you can put. Does that even make sense? Am I making, do you understand what I'm saying, right? This black little thing here can also go into this other case. And the next thing you know, you have a completely different bag. And I just thought that's genius that you've got someone who's so
Actually, that's purely
visionary.
Purely Rita's idea.
In like creating, and you can deconstruct the bag and then have a different bag and put, it's almost like you're dressing it and giving it a different look. So what are you currently working on for Denry that you're really excited about that you can share with us today?
Actually, the new materials.
Yeah.
We're expecting new materials to come in.
Okay.
If we check, let's say our bags,
Yeah.
they're kind of themed. We're having a Viper collection,
Okay.
a woven collection.
Yeah.
Actually, the next collection is ostrich.
Oh, but it's faux animal. It's not actually ostrich.
No, yeah, it's not actually
Yeah,
ostrich.
but it's faux ostrich leather.
Yeah.
Lovely. And what would you say was the turning point for your brand? The moment where you thought, ooh, this is it. This is what I should be doing, and everything is falling into place.
The moment let me tell you something. It's not every day everyone comes up with something and sells. As in, so many people have started businesses, so many people make products, but they don't move, let's say, as much as our product moves.
Yeah.
So the turning point is when you walk in town and find, like, after every, let's say, a few steps that you're taking, you find a Denry pack. You find a Denry pack. And that one is I think, it's also something else that really inspires us to continue moving and moving. Sometimes things are difficult.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like the other day we had an issue with the port materials being delayed, the port issues and such things. And sometimes things become really difficult.
Yeah.
But the moment you walk in town, see one bag, another bag, you're like, you know what, we can do this.
Right. That must be so fulfilling when you see people walking around with your pieces and you're like, you're carrying my baby.
Imagine, and we're just thankful to God for it's I don't know how to put it.
Yeah.
But we're just grateful because one day you come up with a product and it sells.
Yeah. What is it that makes you successful? What is it about you that makes people want to buy Denry, own Denry, walk around with Denry? What do you think that is?
I think I will give all this to the team that we have behind us. Okay, I'm just one, Rita is another person. We have 20 more people behind us. As in that we work together. Because at the workshop we have a number of guys. We have this shop and we have the shop in Mombasa and the office. So we have a whole team that puts all these things together.
Yeah.
And I think I would give it to them. I think my Rita and I are just visionaries.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what actually happens, I would give it to the team, to our employees, everything, because they're the ones who make these things.
Wow. So find yourself the right team and you're off to a great start. Thanks, Dennis. In case it wasn't obvious, the name Denry is derived from Dennis and Rita, the two visionaries behind Denry Africa. We have to take a quick break. Thank you so much, Dennis, again. Thanks for welcoming us into your store and letting us try and understand how you got to where you are. I'm sure it's inspired many. Welcome back, ladies and gents. What's the one thing that women are notorious to have way too much of? Any guesses? Shoes. And that's what our next entrepreneur focuses on. She has been running Ikweta for the past 2 years with the help of a few people, more than a few, it's actually a number. We're at the workshop right now, and you're going to see everything about what her brand is about, how she started it, and where you can get your hands on these sandals. Our guest is none other than Vashini Raghupathy, and she's here to tell us more about Ikweta. So now we get to meet Vashini Raghupathy, who is the lady behind Ikweta. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming all the way. I know it's a long commute to industrial area.
Anything for shoes. We're going to come all the way to industrial area anytime. First question, and might be the most important question I ask you. Maybe not. How many pairs of shoes do you own?
Actually, not that many. Because with Ikweta, like, let's say I've got 5 or 6 pairs.
What?
And yes,
Only?
yes, plus a pair of running shoes. So
there's hundreds of women right now whose jaws have just dropped, like thousands of women who are just like, how? How does she only have 5 pairs? But okay, I hear you. You've got a business to run. Speaking of which, how did you come up with sandals? How did the idea come to you?
So I graduated from Brown with my master's in entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And I was working in Nairobi with a nonprofit vocational training center, helping them set up an entrepreneurship program.
Yeah.
And that was when I came firsthand to experience the unemployment rates in Kenya. And I've always known that footwear industry is quite labor intensive.
Yeah.
So we decided this is the way to go to create more jobs.
What?
And I'm going to give you some stats which are kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So in 2015, in the continent, we produced 150 million pairs of shoes, but we consumed 1.2 billion pairs. So we imported over 1 billion pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Imagine if all that was made right here in Kenya or on the continent.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of jobs we need to create.
So all this was because you were moved to try and do something about the employment rates.
Yes.
Wow. And then, you know, a couple years later, and you've got this beautiful brand that's growing really well. You not only sell your products locally, but you export as well.
Exactly.
Right? So tell me, how do you come up with the designs? I know you've got like a lead designer, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about the process.
Got it. I mean, to quickly give you an overview of where the inspiration comes from, I guess it's just how diverse and multicultural Nairobi and Kenya is. So kind of being inspired by the people, and you can see a lot of accents that kind of tell you that we're looking around and fusing both the Western and the Kenyan culture. Like this is Maasai beadwork with like a beautiful cork sole. So we're all about kind of fusing together different cultures. And another thing is that we focus on quality. So we want it to look beautiful, but also feel great on your feet and be functional when you're carrying a bag, for example.
Right, because you've got bags too.
Yes.
So how did you go about, you know, including other products into your product line? Because I know you originally started with sandals, but for instance, you've got like baby moccasins here. You've got bags. How do you decide what to include in the product line?
All I can say is customer feedback.
Okay.
Because we're always out there talking to customers, listening to what they have to say. And we started with sandals, like you rightly mentioned. And from there, you know, young mothers came to us and said, oh, we want a pair of baby moccasins to kind of match our sandals. And then from there it went to, you know, I go to work, I wear your sandals, it's really comfortable, but do you guys make bags? Yes, we can do that for you. And once we saw that it was a hit with customers, now we've kind of invested in a bag line. And we've got a few baby moccasins.
I love them. Gorgeous. So Vashini, take me through the process of creating a shoe from scratch. Now that you've got the, you know, the designer, the lead designer on board, and he comes up with all the inspiration, how do you go about creating it?
So the first step is we work with Alfarama, which is Africa's only LWG gold-rated tannery, to source the leather. They're located right here in Athi River. Yes. And so we source the leather from them, and then we kind of create this mood board where we, you know, have all the different colors and textures of leather that we've decided to work with this season. And once we've decided on the colors, first the lead designer kind of draws out the pattern for the shoe. And this is done using the last, which is kind of a plastic mold of the human foot. So he kind of does the pattern, and also he needs to grade it for different sizes. He does the pattern and the grading, and the next step is actual production once the pattern has been approved. So for the production, the first step would be cutting the different pieces of leather in the right shapes, the straps, the insole, and all that stuff. And once it's cut, it goes into the upper making section where they're making the upper. So this is called the upper of the sandal, and then it goes into making the upper. And once they've done making the upper, they kind of do the attaching process, which is attaching the upper to the sole. That's the next step, followed by which they do the finishing, which involves roughing, making sure the product is finished.
So how long on average does it take to make one shoe?
So it kind of depends and varies with styles. Like some styles are more complex and take longer, but I would say we can, at this point, do about 300 pairs to 500 pairs a week.
300 to 500. Okay, so tell me, what is it about Ikweta that makes it different? Because like I said, there's a lot of women who have shoes, and a lot of Kenyan women happen to own or have owned a pair of Maasai sandals.
So with Ikweta, it's all about, you know, being fresh and fun and owning something that makes you feel confident and yet comfortable, because we don't want you to be hurting on your feet, or we don't want you to have a bag that looks great but then, you know, doesn't have the right pockets for all the things that we have today, like our cell phone, being able to access your keys easily. So we're always trying to kind of marry functionality with design. And we've got this great tote, for example, which has a card holder on the outside with a phone case, because easy access when you're out at networking events. So we're always trying to think of the working woman or the mother. So we're trying to cater for
their
everybody.
needs. I love. So it's only women's wear, but I think I spotted some men's sandals at a corner somewhere.
You're right again.
Okay. There are a couple of men's wear here and there. Let's go back to when you then decided this is what you wanted to do to try and create employment. What did you need to start this? And what financially, physically, in terms of products, what did you need to start Ikweta?
So I think the first thing we did was launch a Kickstarter campaign.
Oh.
And we raised over $21,000 in 30 days. The response was amazing.
Wow.
And that kind of gave us a confidence to even start Ikweta.
Yeah.
And once we had the funds in place, I kind of went on this journey of visiting footwear factories in India, China, Italy, to really understand what we need to do in order to compete at an international level. With that knowledge, we were able to source the right machinery, develop a training program to ensure that we're able to produce great quality products, and learned that when it comes to shoes, comfort and quality is key when a buyer is coming to buy from you.
Yeah. So speaking of the buyer, who is your target audience?
So with Ikweta, we're trying to create an affordable luxury brand. So we want to make sure the end customer can afford the products which are top quality but is great value for money. So we're kind of going for that, you know, segment which wants high quality products, but we don't want you to, you know, empty out your wallet for a bag or for shoes.
Or shoes. And I know that you not only sell locally, you also export. Why did you feel the need to push your product out there? I mean, I know why, it's beautiful, but what drove you to that decision?
Actually, quick backstory. So the thing is, like in 2016 when we started, I once joked saying, oh, the goal is one day we're going to make these sandals that the Italians are going to want, because Italians are known for the quality.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, today we're shipping over 4,000 pairs to Italy, and you're going to see us in over 40 boutiques in Italy for spring summer 2019.
What?
And honestly, the goal is we have great talent in Kenya, so it's to kind of spread it out there.
That's amazing. 40 boutiques, 4,000 pairs. So how do you know? How do you know which boutiques are the right ones? How do you go about creating that synergy between you, who's here in Kenya, and the boutiques all the way in Italy?
So trade shows has been a great way to connect with the international buyers.
Trade shows. So do you go for a lot of them?
Yes, we've been to 3 this year.
Okay.
And it's been a great success for us.
Wow, 3 in 2018. That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so again, how do you pick the buy? How do you know who to sign up with?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for my first trade show, I was completely clueless too, right? Because this is like a learning process. You learn as you go along. And with the buyers, it's almost like a dating process where you meet, they ask questions, you ask questions, and then you got to do a couple of dinners to kind of convince the buyers that you're not going to take their money and run away.
Right.
So it's a lot of like confidence building and courting, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then figuring out who works,
Exactly.
which brand works, or which stores work.
Yes.
So where do you envision Ikweta? What's your vision for this brand?
In the future, we want to be this international brand that's made in Kenya. We want to keep our manufacturing in Kenya. That's known for quality, great quality, and innovative design. So that's where we want to be in the future.
What's the one thing that kept her going? Because I don't know, maybe you can confirm this or not. I'm sure it's had its ups and downs, right? So what's the one thing that you think has helped build your brand in such a short amount of time for you to be able to export, for you to have even gotten the $21,000 from people who believed in your vision? What's that one thing that makes Ikweta stand out and has helped you keep it running?
I think, honestly, there has been so many times when I'm like, why am I even doing this? I should just go get a job.
What?
And I'm serious. Like, so many times, so many points during this journey where I just wanted to give up. But I guess, keeping in mind that there is so much potential here in Kenya, and we have access to great quality of raw materials, and, the want to kind of share it with the rest of the world is what kind of keeps me going. And it's been exciting. And sometimes, I'm like, I'm done with this. But then, when I come here and then we're deciding a new stuff, it's all exciting. So I guess it's about finding that one thing that drives you, that thing that excites you and wants you to wake up in the morning and actually go to work. So
it's your passion. So I think that's it, the passion.
Yes.
That is your why. That's what drives you.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much for allowing us into your space, for showing us around your workshop. I can see people even stopped just so that we can get this done. So thank you so much to you guys as well. We have to take a quick break. We have one more entrepreneur that you have to see. We'll be back in a moment. Thank you. Thanks, Chini. Welcome back, everybody. Our very final guest is none other than Amisha Patel. She studied biomedical science, so she knows a thing or two about products, and specifically skincare products. She is the co-founder and director of Elekea Limited, the parent company to Obao, which is their flagship product. Welcome, Amisha.
Thank you very much.
Or should I say thank you for inviting us into your workshop?
Thank you for coming.
Aw.
And it's a pleasure.
So first question. How did you come up with the name Obao?
Obao is a play on words. I needed to have a brand name that was relatable, not only to my products, but also where the products came from, and easy to remember, easy to roll off the tongue. So basically, I joined 2 words together, and I came up with Obao. So the 2 words are basically O and Baobab.
Baobab. Why Baobab?
Baobab is the base of all my products.
Every single product?
Most of them. Okay. Some of them are not Baobab based. However, they are actually used to enhance or work together with a Baobab product.
Okay. So actually, the very first time I came across Obao was when I was looking for skincare products under a certain amount of money, and I can't remember whether it was 750 shillings or 1,000 shillings, but I remember coming across this and being like, oh, look at all the ingredients. I can understand everything in it. It must be brilliant. And I loved that. I loved that it is an organic brand. Now, was that something that was intentional and important for you?
Definitely it was. I wanted to focus on clean and organic skincare products. Primarily because in today's day and age, we are constantly bombarded with pollution, bad diet, stress, everything shows up on our skin. And the products that we have right now in Kenya, or at that point in time, was a lot of them have fillers in them and don't have any functional activity. So you don't see much of a difference. And that is why I decided to come up with a clean and organic, basically botanical-based brand, which actually, the moment you use it, you should be able to see a difference. And I'm happy to report that I've had good feedback on that.
So is that what you use?
I do.
That's all you about.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. In real life, in person, she's got great skin. So if that's anything to go by, she knows what she's doing here. So tell me, when you then decided, I want to create a clean, organic brand, what did you need? What was the first thing that you decided to go after or to gather to create this brand?
I mean, I always knew I wanted to base it on baobab. And baobab is a wild fruit which is readily available in Kenya. It's underutilized. So I always knew I needed it as a base. So as a supply raw material, I already had that. Okay. As with any entrepreneur or any business startup, you need a good support structure, which is what I was a bit apprehensive whether I would get it or not. Reliable supply, sustainable packaging. So I struggled to get that in the beginning. But we did manage. And as you can see, And again, the other thing that we also needed was a ready market, which at that point in time was not very, what can I say?
Receptive?
Receptive.
What year was this?
This was 2015 when I first launched the baobab powder.
Okay. And why do you think the market wasn't really sure?
The market wasn't sure because they weren't aware of the benefits. Okay. So by the time the baobab powder, which was the first product that came out, it took a lot of convincing people that this is good for you, to eat. Yeah. After that, it was like a lot of people realized the potential of it.
Okay. So, and that's the baobab powder, you would then have people mix it in their drinks, in their porridge, in their smoothies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, tell me about marketing this and sort of, because it seems like it wasn't just about marketing your brand, you also had to educate the consumer. What was that like, and what was the main tool that you used to do this?
Initially, the marketing was pretty difficult. I had to go around fairs, talking to people. I was lucky enough to be able to stock it in one of our biggest stockists in Kenya of health foods, which helped bring it up. What I did use was Facebook a lot. Oh. Yeah. Okay. And that was the first thing that I used to market the brand and the benefits of it.
I love that social media often plays a big role, especially in this day and age, whether it's educating, just pushing the brand, connecting with the consumer. I love that. So I mean, given that you're dealing with skincare products, quality control is so important. How do you make sure that everything is in check and it's in place?
So the first thing that we need to make sure with any skincare product is hygiene. So we have stringent procedures about how we do the production, who does the production. We have processes that we put in place to make sure that if there is any critical step, there will be contamination, we take extra care in it. Yeah. The second thing is a sustainable and vettable supply of raw materials. So we try to be consistent from where we buy our raw materials that we add to some of our skincare products as well. Okay. Because they have their own procedures in there as well, which are inbuilt into ours. Yeah. Okay. Then we also do what we call in-house checks. So we'll keep a sample aside for in case there are any problems with that batch. We'll do random testing. And then we also do the annual standardization mark with KEBS.
Okay, so tell me about the products. I mean, you started out with the powder. Right now we've got a lot more than powder. I see about maybe 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12
products,
12
yeah.
products.
Yeah.
So how did you go about broadening your product line?
So basically, the first thing I did was, when I first started with the baobab powder and baobab oil, I found that I had to educate people. I'm going back to the other question, how to use the product. So I thought, how about I add value myself and I sell it as that, and then people will realize that there is a benefit to it in an ABCD kind of way. And again, coming from a science background, I love tinkering about in the lab. I love putting 2 and 2 together to see what comes out. Thankfully, I haven't blown up anything yet. But a lot of these products, they come up because I enjoy innovation. I enjoy creating.
Okay, what's your best-selling product?
If we're looking at from the word go, baobab powder is the best-selling product.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So far.
Yeah.
Now that we're expanding to a skincare range, my bestseller has started to be the vitamin C serum.
That's exactly what I've been staring at and just trying to open a bottle. They're not open, so I can't even test it. There are no testers here, at least none that I've seen. But it looks like it's everything that your skin would need. I love it. So what's been the most challenging part about your building your brand and your business?
The challenging part, again, with any entrepreneur is capital barriers, legal barriers, infrastructural barriers. Those are the basic challenges. But for me specifically, because I'm dealing with natural products, I've had an added challenge of how do I formulate something without adding on the nasties, for example, for preservation or, you know, to make sure that the product doesn't spoil. So that has been a big challenge, and it has really challenged my scientific prowess.
Your biomedical background is being put to test. So you just talked about funding. Was this self-funded?
Yes, and it still is.
Still is?
Yes.
And how did you go about in those moments where, you know, I guess you're still trying to, you know, put everything out there, and it still needs money, there's still testing taking place, there's still people, you know, you have to pay. Was that ever an issue? How did you balance that?
It's always an issue. And with any business, is the first thing you talk to somebody about is cash flow. I'm lucky because I also have an environmental background, and my consultancy helped fund a lot of these products. They're just starting to pay up for themselves. But up to this point, it's been my consultancy that's been funding this.
Okay. What would you say was the turning point in your business?
I think this will be.
What?
Yeah.
We are honored to be part of this.
I think this will definitely be. I'm less of a turning point person, but I'm more of a take an opportunity when it comes and make most of it kind of person. You know? So every opportunity I get, obviously I'll weigh the pros and cons of it, and then if it benefits me, I will go ahead and grab it. And I've been very fortunate that I've made the decisions that I've made that have helped me expand or broaden my product range based on that.
Okay. So obviously you're very clear on your positioning, right? It's a healthy, clean, organic brand. Did that inform the kind of stockists or where you would end up selling your product?
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah. What were you looking for?
I was basically the stockists that I wanted. They needed to have like a similar alignment in terms of the product range they were offering, because that was what was going to attract the right type of clientele. Also, I wanted it more to be like a partnership. So it had to be more like a collaboration as opposed to just a stockist stocking my product. We had to be mutually beneficial. So that also helped. And also their presence in the market. That helped. That they had to be easily accessible to potential clients. And also for me to be able to supply at a short notice.
Okay. What's your vision for Obao?
I want Obao to be a brand that is to be reckoned with, in the sense that I want people to be proud of where Obao comes from. It is a Kenyan brand. It was built using Kenyan products, Kenyan resources, you know. I want employees and partners to feel empowered, or to feel like they can come and they can work here and they're happy.
Yeah.
You know, I want a brand with a difference, right? But at the same time, I want it to be relatable to Kenyans.
Well, I love that you are encouraging, organic products coming into our homes and into our lives, and B, it's also affordable. That's what I also like, that you don't have to break the bank. Now, I really want to sort of break down the actual products, and I want you to take me through some of them. What's your favorite one? What's the one thing that you think, especially for skincare, the one thing that you think, if you were to start out with something, this is it?
You're telling a mom to pick between her kids? Like, who's my favorite?
I mean, so you know what I've heard, though, about that. That sometimes you just have favorites for this season, and then this is, you're my favorite these. So for this season,
Right.
tell us which one of your babies
Yes.
is your favorite for this season.
What I will tell you is what I use in combination.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah.
So basically, my ultimate regime for every day is I will do my vitamin C serum immediately after I cleanse my face.
I think I might get myself some of this, actually.
And then I've got the eye contour gel, which actually has made a difference. I had very bad eye circles.
Eye contour gel, which means
It's just around the eyes. You just dab it around the eyes.
okay. So eye cream.
Eye gel. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eye contour gel just feels like it's so elevated. Okay.
And then my ultimate is my face serum.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's a hydration serum, and I can use it at night and during the daytime as well.
And so, what skin types would work?
This
best?
can work for pretty much every skin type. It's just how much you use. Every natural product is about how much you use rather than focused on skin type. So, for example, if you've got oily skin and you're like, I can't use oil on my face. Actually, you can. You use 2 drops instead of 5, and use it once a day instead of twice. You know, a lot of natural products are very potent, so you don't need to lather it on in significant amounts.
Right. Already, I'm just that word potent. I'm like, ooh, can you imagine all that juice soaking into my skin? So, how would you say the market has received the product now? Do you think that more and more people are more understanding of, or are more ready to embrace?
I'm actually very surprised and very proud of the Kenyan clients that I have, because not only have they been receptive, they've also been very understanding about the challenges that are faced with natural products. So sometimes, I'll give you an example, and I'm not afraid to say one of the challenges I faced was my face serum had a lot of problems of separation. Okay. And my clients came back to me and they said, we have a problem with the separation, how do we deal with that? Yeah. So I said, I'm sorry about that. We worked on it, it's working better now, and they're happy.